The Baltimore Ravens are obviously one of the best teams in football with some of the biggest stars in the game. However, they lost a lot of talent this past free agency. And even though stars are important to a team's success, it's about filling out the entire roster. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And when the Ravens lose starters like Morgan Moses, Jadeveon Clowney, Kevin Zeitler, Patrick Queen, Geno Stone, Devin Duvernay, John Simpson's a decent player. They lost so many different starters and contributors to their team that there is work to be done. So we've got Derrick Henry on the team now, but as you can see, you have holes at really multiple spots on the offensive line, maybe even 4 if you consider Ronnie Stanley. In real life, the injury stuff can get to be a little bit much. Here in the game, we have 2 more years left of Ronnie Stanley. Have to see if he ends up staying on the team for that time. But Ben Cleveland, Andrew Voorhees, Patrick McCarry. Like, McCarry's a good 6th offensive lineman. I'm not sure you really want him as a starter. Tackle is a position of need, as is guard, as is potentially wide receiver, as Tylan Wallace, Laquan Treadwell are there for wide receiver 3 and 4 right now. And then defensively, the defense still looks pretty good. Got Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton. Losing Geno Stone, probably not the worst, but you still need an upgrade at cornerback. You got Brandon Stevens, who's a fine player, but could certainly use an upgrade at CB3. And then the defensive line needs work. It was awesome that Justin Madubuike was able to be extended. I like Travis Jones for the future, but need another piece in there for sure. And I think David Ajabo, we're going to move out to left outside linebacker. Tyus Bowser's probably not in my future plans. And then Trenton Simpson's going to start alongside Roquan Smith at inside linebacker. So we have potential here. It's just a matter of whether we can replace those starters to be impactful players, or with impactful players. And that's what we're going to try to do here in this rebuild. Got the 2024 NFL draft class loaded in. And I think the players we're going to be targeting are the tackles. And what would probably be in play, I doubt the top 3 tackles get here, but well, at left tackle at least. Jordan Morgan, Kingsley Suamataia, certainly Patrick Paul. Those guys would be in play. Patrick Paul, I doubt, goes in the first round. And then at right tackle, maybe there's a chance that Amarius Mims gets there in real life. Maybe J.C. Latham, but more likely, I think you're probably looking at Tyler Guyton. So, tackles in play. We know receivers happen to fall. Madden just does not get them off the board. So we will be able to take a receiver somewhere down the board. Maybe Xavier Legette, maybe Ricky Pearsall, maybe Malachi Corley. And I also think getting another interior defensive lineman could be a good idea. Like maybe a Brandon Dorless. And Marshawn Nealon would be a pretty good fit still, I think. Defensive tackle. Braden Fisk maybe in the second round if he's available. Tavondre Sweat could be good at the nose tackle position. We do have some options, so we'll see what ends up being available. Tackle really would not be the worst idea. We'll have to see how the board falls. Okay, hopping into the NFL draft, we have the 30th overall pick. And we'll see what the Bears do at number 1. We expect, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, some type of combination. Maybe J.J. McCarthy gets into the top, 5. I think that's at least top 5 is a possibility for sure with the team moving up. Dallas Turner continues to be the 4th overall pick, because the Patriots consistently go with Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 3 in this draft. It's usually Talisa Fuanga at 5. See if the tackles fly off the board. Joe Alt did not last to the Lions pick. No way. Why is this draft class so bugged? Troy Fautanu is available at 30. And I might just lock that in. Jordan Morgan's here. We know the receivers stay on the board. And I pushed them all the way up. They still don't get drafted. It's unbelievable. And this is such a stacked receiver class. We will see many, many receivers go in the top 50 and top 100. The top 100 in this draft, even the top 75, you might see 15 receivers go. I don't think that would be ridiculous at all. Because we could see at least 5 go in the first round. We think 3 are going to be top 10 picks. And then Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Worthy could be in that first round conversation. Maybe Keon Coleman. And then when you factor in the guys like Troy Franklin, that could be a first-round pick. Jalen Polk is going to go on day 2, as is Roman Wilson, Ricky Pearsall probably, Malachi Corley. I would expect Tez Walker. You look at all these receivers, we're going to see so many of these guys go inside the top, 75. Leggett, Jermaine Burton, Brendan Rice certainly could. Like Javon Baker. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I could certainly see going. But Troy Fautanu available, gives us flexibility across the offensive line. I don't expect him to be here in real life, but there's a chance he is available. So we're going to pull the trigger here and welcome Troy Fautanu to the Baltimore Ravens. Can play left tackle, did so at Washington. Arms are long enough, even though he doesn't have like top tier type size that you'd expect, but with 34-inch arms, he can stick at left tackle for sure. However, for us, probably going to move him over to right tackle, but could also move inside to guard. He, in a great offensive line and offensive tackle class, he's one of those guys like Jordan Morgan that has that flexibility to be maybe inside or outside. Graham Barton's another one. Maybe the 49ers draft him here. They with the pass rusher Chris Braswell. But Troy Fautanu is fantastic value at number 30. Love that as we really improve our offensive line. Now we pick at the end of the second round. Receiver still available. Chris Jenkins could be a really good fit, actually. Mike Sainer still. Don't really want a running back right now with Derrick Henry on the team. So I think we're probably going to go with either Chris Jenkins or one of these receivers. And my buddy Wheels is a big Florida fan and Ravens fan. Fun combo. And Ricky Pearsall, probably going to go somewhere on day 2. This is a good spot for him. Make him our third receiver. And Ricky Pearsall's a fun player. I think that's... You see him on the right there. It's closer than you think. He's got pretty good wheels. He's got unbelievable contested catchability at times. He's a human highlight reel. Ricky Pearsall is a really fun player. Arizona State transfer, like Ricky Pearsall. And he ends up going here in the second round. Jonathan Brooks to the Chiefs. Another Texas running back in there for them. Of course, Priest Holmes, Jamal Charles, now Jonathan Brooks. Hook him, of course. And we'll simulate to round 3. Could have waited on a receiver. I think we knew that. But getting Pearsall there is not the worst idea. And these receivers maybe are going off the board a little bit more than I have seen in the past. Although this is, 10 in a row? Yes, I do see the numbers on the left side now. I think I kind of spaced in one of my last rebuilds. Could go with one of these corners. I talk a lot about the Florida State corners. However, we do need more depth on the defensive line. Leonard Taylor could potentially push in to be a starter. He's raw in real life, but a good athlete. And you got potential with that, and we'll potentially add him into our rotation on the defensive line. Maybe 3-4 defensive end potential starter there. Let's go with Chris Abrams-Drain out of Mizzou here in the 4th round. Really like him. Probable NFL slot corner, but he's a really good player and should be a good fit here. Potential starter for us. Really like Chris Abrams-Drain. And I think we've done a pretty good job here of filling up some of these holes on the defensive line. We got, of course, potential starter in Leonard Taylor, CB3 and Chris Abrams-Drain, wide receiver 3 and Ricky Pearsall, and of course, a starter right away in Troy Fautanu. We'll find a spot for him without question. Round 5, as Kalen Carson is headed to the Lions. Could get another receiver in the mix. There are a lot of them still on the board. Isaac Guerendo could be a decent option. Really good athlete. And maybe something we can develop. Or Christian Jones could be interesting. Brandon Coleman could be interesting. Really good athlete. Let's see. Let's go with Brandon Coleman out of TCU. Again, really good athlete. Is that well represented here? Not well enough. Mistakes have been made. We'll need to fix some of that. He should be a little bit faster than 66 speed for sure. But strength and acceleration are actually quite good. So he's a good addition to our offensive line group. And I think I'll let the CPU handle the rest of the draft just to fill things out a little bit more. Going to be a lot of receivers still available. We'll see if we snag a 4th. ahead of Tylan Wallace. I don't mind Tylan Wallace, though. I like Tylan Wallace. He's a pretty good player at Oklahoma State. And this is our draft class. End up getting Brevin Spanford and Anthony Gold from Oregon State. Another pretty good player and a nice addition to our receiving core. And I'm pretty happy with our draft, getting Faatanu, Pearsall. I mean, I talked about it as we were actually doing the class. And I think we're in a pretty good spot there. Again, went really with a position of need type approach. But I also don't think we totally avoided best player available in those spots either. I think that was a pretty good draft for us. And again, we have starters kind of all over the place now. We could consider Brandon Coleman as a starter, but probably just stick with Ben Cleveland and Andrew Voorhees for now. Although, Brandon Coleman's going to be a slightly higher overall than Andrew Voorhees, so maybe we throw him into the rotation there. Makari could potentially play guard, but I think I'm just going to keep him as a backup. And Faatanu starting at right tackle for us. Love that. Matabike, I think we go Travis Jones as our nose tackle. Yeah, and we'll go with Bravion Roy, good size backup. We'll go with Leonard Taylor as our rush end over Broderick Washington. It's just an age and developable traits thing at that point. Taylor's just slightly more athletic, slightly better in a lot of different areas, but is younger. So makes a ton of sense to do that. Our D tackle depth, though, is not good. I think Chris Abrams-Drain is going to slide in probably over the other hyphenated name, Jalen Armour-Davis. And we'll make him CB3 and probably our starting slot corner as well. Ooh, Ronnie Stanley's going to help with the development of Troy Faatanu. Love that. Get a little pass block finesse going. I'm in. Troy Faatanu, 10,000 XP as well. That surely is going to end up making him maybe an 80 overall before the year's over. I'm not being super aggressive with that ranking just because offensive linemen don't really get upgraded too well in Madden, I would say. I could change the XP sliders. Maybe that's something I fool around with more in Madden 25 or whatever the next one's called. We'd expect it to be called that, right? But Madden 25 has already been a game. But if you look at, Call of Duty, they release the next Modern Warfare 1, 2, or 3 every year, and those games have already existed. What is going on? This game. I mean, his skin, he looks like a dinosaur. You can peel it right off. You can see through him. He looks like, a Stegosaurus or something with that. A hunchback. Gonna use an auto-generated draft class for 2025, of course. And there's gonna be a couple quarterbacks here at the top. Mizzou and San Diego State. Defensive tackle in the top 3. Don't see that too often. And we could use a defensive tackle. Could use an outside line. His name is not Mike Hunt. Mike, pause, Hunt. Editing genius. This video is gonna get age restricted now. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to bleep that. I know, like, that's one word they don't mess around with. See you next Tuesday. This is unbelievable. Well, the only change I'm going to make here is making David Ajabo our rush right end. Keaton Mitchell can be our third down back. That's totally fine. Melvin Gordon, if we need somebody to fumble, is going to be a backup. I don't know why we'd need someone to fumble, but if we did, he'd be a pretty good option. Have Keaton Mitchell ahead of Justice Hill. Well, we are 6-1 at the midseason mark. The Ravens are typically a team that does simulate very, very well, so it's not really a shock to see that happening. As Marlon Humphrey has some type of a breakout challenge. I guess he's maybe only superstar dev. One of the better defensive backs in the league, no question. Steelers also doing quite well up to this point as well. A lot of upgrades for our young starters, which is nice. Adafe Owe getting his power moves into the 90s, I think would be huge. Just feeling like upgrading Speed Rusher here a little bit. Making that 70 plus, but I guess we're just leading to the power rush element of his game. It's the best by a mile. We're not going to halt that development just to get him up to 68 finesse moves, which is not really going to end up making any type of positive difference. It'll be interesting to see whether the Ravens pick up not contracts, but the fifth-year options of Odafe Owe and Rashad Bateman in real life. I opted against it because I thought they'd be cheaper to extend long-term, and that is the case. Odafe Owe wants to play in a league favorite. We are right now. Rashad Bateman probably is about the same. Head coach, historic win record, or historic win percentage, franchise quarterback in Lamar Jackson, and we are a league favorite. Rashad Bateman is somebody I want to try to develop. 24 years old, star dev, 79 overall. There's still room for development here. And when you think about it, it's easy to look at Rashad Bateman and want more, but he's just 24 years old. You get rookies that are 24 years old that are going to be in this next draft class. Rashad Bateman has more experience than those guys and arguably higher potential than some of the top guys. So I do want to keep him around. Rashad Bateman is extended just $4.7 million in cap room right now. That's a big problem. We'll have to consider picking up the fifth-year options on Linderbaum and Hamilton. Going to be expensive to extend those guys long-term. Brandon Stevens, we can't afford just yet. And I would like to keep him around. Where can I save money? Because Lamar's contract is pretty big. That, of course, is weighing us down a little bit. Who else? Ronnie Stanley, maybe? Let's see where we can save money. Matabike, of course, is not an option. New contract for him. Stanley. Tyus Bowser is going to be gone. But doesn't really do a lot for us right now. Because this is not affecting 2025 cap space. Derrick Henry going into his final year. I'm not going to cut him, though. Roderick Washington. Maybe he gets cut in the offseason. And we lose 10-7 to the Steelers. Okay. Steelers 6-2 as well as we are. I can't imagine we got a breakout from Marlon Humphrey. We only allowed 10 points. But typically doesn't happen in losses. A breakout quarterback challenge as well as a tandem breakout. Having a great season. 8-2. Again, the Ravens are a team that typically does simulate very well. Rashad Bateman not going to be going up, unfortunately, in overall with XP or development trait. What would Lamar Jackson even do? He's already superstar X Factor. Just an XP boost? I mean, I would be down. Oh, we would make the playoffs at 14-3. Again, not really a huge surprise. The Ravens, the playbooks, the team, they just got it all going on. Troy Fautanu is having a nice rookie year in terms of development, playing up to an 83 overall, but it's a true 81. So very good. Better than I expected even. Ooh, got the Bengals in the division round of the playoffs. Shocked they made it out of the first round. Check out the stats here. Lamar Jackson with a good passing season. I mean, completing 73% of his passes as well. Just not throwing the ball a ton, so the yardage not crazy. But Derrick Henry got almost 300 attempts, 19 touchdowns, over 5 per carry. Kind of a blast from the past there. What a season from Henry. Lamar Jackson had 200 attempts, averaging fewer than 5 yards per carry, but he'll take that. Very, very good year for Lamar. Almost 1,000 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. Receiving, nobody at 1,000 yards but Mark Andrews with a killer season, 12 touchdowns. I say killer season. Wasn't even talking about Ray Lewis. I'm about Mark Andrews there, but was fantastic. And then Roquan Smith, plenty of tackles, 16 for loss for Matabike, 10 for Ajabo. And Odafe Owe led the team with 8 sacks. Matabike had 7.5 and didn't really get that much going on in terms of sack production, but the defense was good, so I'm cool with it. Can we beat the Bengals? 87 overall against 83 overall, and we do, and we advance to the conference championship against the Kansas City Chiefs. Ideally, with this rebuild of sorts, we have our franchise quarterback, some franchise pieces on defense. I'd like to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. That would be cool. Well, we have the lead right now as we approach halftime. Defense doing a good job to keep the Chiefs off the board, but the offense isn't matching it. 13-10. Chiefs thought we were about to take the lead, but we extended to a 10-point game. And the Chiefs answer with just a field goal. So we're in business here. 3rd and 7. Under 2 minutes to play. Chiefs out of timeouts. A first down would end the game. Maybe a slant of Ricky Pearsall. Again, I know how ridiculous he looks in the game. We do want to keep the clock moving here, though, regardless of picking up this first down. Pearsall's open. Nice throw. A great catch. And we're going to be headed to the Super Bowl. Well, we scored a touchdown and let the Chiefs get the ball back. I don't know why we would do that. Lamar Jackson completed over 87% of his passes. And that looks like an easy win over the Chiefs, but that one really came down to the wire. Got a garbage time score, but really, really big win there as the Ravens could win a Super Bowl for the first time since 2013. I think it was the 2012 season, actually. 2012, but I guess the Super Bowl would have been in 2013. 2012. Pretty sure. Because that was the 49ers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 2012. Either way, looking to add another Lombardi trophy to the case. The Ravens have, I think, 2, because they beat the Giants in 2000. And they, I'm assuming in 2012, beat the 49ers. So they haven't been around for very long. I think their first year was somewhere around 1995. I would guess the 95 season. But again, can't be 100% sure. I could look it up, but it's just not, it doesn't make a huge difference, obviously, if we're just more of an anecdote, right? It doesn't impact the rebuild very much. But either way, I think looking for their 3rd Super Bowl. And this has been a franchise that, since their inception, I mean, they've been amazing. Drafting, amazing. If you look at, you know, Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden, Ed Reed, Peter Boulware, Tony Saragusa, you can look at all those guys that were huge pieces on the early 2000s, late 90s Ravens. I mean, early 2000s Ravens is like one of the best defenses in NFL history. And then even into the 2010s, they had great pieces like Ladarius Webb was a really nice, I'm pretty sure, former draft pick of theirs. Chris McAllister was a really good player for them for a while in the 2000s. I mean, there's almost too many to name, right? The Ravens, they draft so well. They make good signings. They just are a very well-run organization. But here we go. Super Bowl something or 50, 60, it's a number somewhere around that. And things are not going very well. It was 13-0, now 16-7. We are not doing a very good job of scoring points, and it's kind of tough to win games when you don't score many points. Although, Brian Anger gives us the football back on the 3-yard line. Okay, so we're going to use Derrick Henry to get off, you know, our own goal line here. Somewhat. And the touchdown gives us the lead. They're really stacking the box, but I certainly am not bold enough to go play action in this spot and try to run around Micah Parsons. Looked like there kind of could have been a hole there, but we're not able to hit it at all. It's going to be 3rd and short. How about a screen? Does Micah Parsons read this? Nobody does, and now we have the speed of Keaton Mitchell out in space. Oh, that might have been the worst juke move I've ever seen. Lamar with 4 incompletions in this game, but one of them happened to be an interception. That's not great. Mark Andrews need a big block. Not like Isaiah Likely's a fantastic blocker on the perimeter, but it could work out, and Lamar caught. Thought he'd have a bit more burst than that. I do want this to be the final drive of the game. I need Mark Andrews to release. It happened late, but it happened at least. We get 4 back. That's not significant. 3rd and 8. This is where we roll out. Throw on the run. Intercepted. How is he able to make a play on that when Mark Andrews is so far down the field and open? That's going to be a tough pick to come back from. 4 turnovers in this game? Well, I contributed to it, I guess, but that is tough. Still have Tony Pollard. I've talked about this before. Doing these off-season rebuilds, you can really only have so many different things. Either you want the draft order and overall contract situations and most of the roster, or you can have not even close to the correct draft order, but the roster would be mostly correct, but still not factoring in free agency. So at that point, it doesn't matter. So I really just focus on the team that we're actually rebuilding as opposed to every other team in the league, and that's how Tony Pollard ends up maybe winning a Super Bowl here over us. Be unfortunate, but it seems like it's becoming a reality. That interception's going to be tough. You need Dak to make a mistake. Please. Something that frustrates me, though, is that with Default all Madden like this is, with no sliders, Lamar Jackson's just as fast as Osa Odigizua, which is completely ridiculous. And it's amazing that that's how things would play on default all Madden. It's like, how are those players as fast as one another? It's unbelievable. Because it's the speed threshold thing. Might be able to outrun Leighton Vander Esch, though. And now, the argument might be, well, they're actually, faster in the open field, but slower before they pass the offensive line. Or the line of scrimmage, I should say. Like, that's not a real thing. The players aren't just slow because of where they are on the field. Doesn't make any sense. So, another thing that I hate. This is actually kind of a big 3rd down and 6. I see Henry. We're going to throw it to him. Missed it, Henry! Out of the end zone. Can they review that? That seems like a play that we should probably be reviewing. Might have just thrown the game away there. Oop, can't make a decision. We're going to run with Lamar Jackson. Got a block. Lamar! Down inside the 5. 58 seconds to go, and a lot of that time's going to tick off here. Run up the middle. Derrick Henry. Touchdown. Okay, we're going to need the 2-point conversion here. If we don't get this, the game, not over, but probably over. We're going to just go dive up the middle. They have 2 linebackers in there. You just can't defend the run like that. 22-22. We forced overtime. Probably. Maybe. Scoring with 30 seconds to go. This reminds me a lot of, was it the Lions rebuild? I think they came back on us. So I'm a little bit worried about this. Maybe it was the Falcons franchise game that came out. I can't even remember. Yeah, I think it was actually Falcons franchise. So we're not out of the woods yet. We kind of need a 3 and out. Interception, maybe. Can't make a play on that ball. Everyone says, oh, you can't be aggressive in these spots. Just go with the zone coverage. Let them play in front of you. Here's the problem, is they only need a field goal. When they have all these timeouts and can get out of bounds and we just give them these free yards, if they get to the 40, they kick a field goal and the game's over. So we can't just give them free yardage. Can't really do that. Boundary. That's going to be caught at the 42. I mean, this is what you get when you just play, off coverage, zone defense, let the other team do whatever they want. We know their offensive line holds up unless you blitz. So that's why I blitz a lot in these spots. Because if you don't, well, you get screwed. And I can't call a timeout back-to-back. Here we go. Iced kick for the game. Brandon Aubrey has the leg. Got it. From the logo. That's why you can't just let them dink and dunk or throw it anywhere. I think you need to blitz. I know that seems crazy, but it isn't when they don't need a touchdown. If they needed a touchdown, okay, I get it. But in this spot, we gave them the win by playing zone defense. What can we do here? Well, nothing, because Lamar is so slow behind the line of scrimmage. I just can't outrun anybody. And we lose the Super Bowl, 25-22. What are you going to do? It's just year 1. Would have been nice to win it, but the Cowboys get it. It is what it is. Well, they're high enough overall. They're going to be expensive anyway. We'll pick up the 5th-year options on Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. And then we have $11 million now to bring back Brandon Stevens. That's doable. Could definitely draft a corner. Doesn't really want to be here, though, is the problem. I think that's a reasonable contract, and Brandon Stevens is back. He's a good option. We don't really want him to be our CB2, but we kind of are stuck with him. Project Pat. I just don't think we have the money for a fullback here. But how do we now have $33 million in cap room? Did someone just flash retire? Or is it the new league year now, so the contracts are showing their new 2025 value? That could be what it is, but I'm going to check through, make sure nobody retired. Although, I was going to say maybe Ronnie Stanley. I don't know. Is there any free agent we want? Joe Tooney, I just think is going to be too expensive. JOK, we don't need. David Bakhtiari, we probably don't need. Greg Newsome could be interesting. I could see that being a good way to go. Quinn Miners. Quinn Miners would be a really good fit. Is very expensive, actually, but would be a really good fit. We do need a guard upgrade desperately. 26 years old. Could even take a little bit of money off that, probably. Could bring Michael Pierce back, but is expected to be way too expensive. I don't know how he thinks he's going to get 17 million. No shot. The Lions going after Quinn Miners. That sucks. Texans going after Michael Pierce, who we're just not going to get anyway. Quinn Miners, that one I'm really not a fan of. I wish we would have just signed him. But other teams got in the mix, unfortunately. To bring Zeitler back, but it's not a good move. I mean, Miners is clearly the best one, but I'd have to up the value a lot, and I don't really want to. That's my best offer. That puts us back in the conversation probably, but I don't know if it's worth it. And we did get Quinn Miners. Okay, it's very expensive for a guard, but he is quite good. Greg Newsome still available. Nope, he's headed to the Texans. You're just better off drafting a corner usually because the game juices their overalls. You can typically find them at the top of every draft class. We just upgrade on the offensive line, but that's good. Quinn Miners is a big upgrade, and he's young. We can, continue to develop him. Center, right guard, right tackle, all solidified for the future. Ronnie Stanley is good for this season. Tackle, still a need. And then the other guard spot, still kind of up in the air. Michael Bradshaw revealed to be a true top 5 talent. Going to be a really tough player to go up and get. The Purdue quarterback, obviously we don't need, so I don't know why I would even mention him. Okay, here we are in the NFL draft. We pick at number 5 overall. And no, we don't. Excuse me. We pick at number 31 overall, but there is a player expected to go number 5 overall. Michael Bradshaw, who I would really like to get. He's a top 5 player in the class, but it's going to be very difficult for us to trade into the top 5. It's going to be at least 2 first-round picks, and I'm just not sure I want to do that. As good as he looks, it's just going to be difficult to... Do you want to mortgage your future for one player who is good? Teron Conway inside the top 20 might make a little bit more sense. Very solid athlete. Good cover ability. Our offense is good. Batanu, Miners, Star Dev, Linderbaum, Stanley, Superstar. Still keeping Ronnie Stanley for now. I mean, the offense really isn't the problem. And I'm not sure there is a big problem on this team. But we could use an upgrade over Leonard Taylor. We could use a better third corner in there, even with Chris Abrams-Drain, who's fine. But we could use like a true, big-time corner. Big-time edge rusher could be nice. But looking at this team, though, I would say, I hate to do this, but I think that the biggest need is on the interior defensive line. So I might try to make a trade all the way up as the Broncos take a quarterback. I'm not saying it, but I actually think it might be in our best interest to move all the way up based on the talent available. So we'll try 2 first-round picks at first. We knew likely that was not going to be accepted. Could add in a 3. That will not be accepted. Is there any player I can give them to sweeten the deal? Not at strong safety. I can't afford to give them a tackle. I mean, Daniel Fa'alele, I imagine his value is not significant. I mean, it exists. We don't really need him, so we can throw him into that deal. Developmental tackle for the Texans. They need a tight end. I'm not going to trade Isaiah Likely, even though he's good and in the final year of his deal. That's actually interesting. I just want to keep Isaiah Likely, though, I think. So I'm going to opt to not do that. Broderick Washington, I imagine, doesn't really have much value, but he's going to set up to be cut by us at some point. I think we just have to throw in more picks. and it's a lot of picks. I want to keep this second rounder, but I'll trade a second rounder as well next year. And we are moving all the way up from 31 into the top 5. The Texans get an absolute haul. A first-round pick this year and next year. A second-round pick next year and a third-round pick this year. I would say that's probably worth it for them. And I think it is for us as well. They say you're never one piece away, but we're pretty damn close to one piece away. Michael Bradshaw from Ole Miss has A power moves, A tackle, B finesse moves, B block shit, only 21 years old. Very good athlete, but the skills are amazing, including A play rec and awareness. He's going to be a very high overall because of that. He's got hidden development, 88 strength, 74 speed, 79 acceleration. Agility is very good as well. And we know the power moves, the block shedding, the finesse moves, the tackling, the strength. We know all of that's good already. He's going to be a very good player. Guaranteed top 5 player in the class, and maybe the best player in the class. Worth moving up for us when that was like, you know, the one standout missing piece there, I would say. And we'll see what we can do here in the second round. It might be wise to pivot, trade down, and try to recoup some of our picks. I'm going to look at linebacker first. I'm going to look at offensive line. Hunter Redding is a very good cover linebacker. Very good cover linebacker. Actually, might be the best player available. Might get me to not trade down. I'll check on the O-line, see if anyone stands out. But I don't think that anyone really will. Hold on. Could always move a center to guard and feel pretty good about that. Elijah Stewart, oh my goodness, looks great athletically. And the skill set's pretty good as well. Diego Romero from Clemson. Skill set looks good. Physically also looks quite good. Well, maybe we are going to be taking an offensive lineman here. Reggie Russell, also a little bit intriguing here. Another very good athlete. Skills are good. This is interesting. We got a choice here. This linebacker also looks really good. Alfonso McCollum from Alabama. This class just looks pretty solid all the way around. I mean, it's tough to find a bad player from these players that we're looking at. I mean, DeMarcus Windsor has great key ratings and is very fast. Okay, I mean, that's somebody we have to draft. So that's going to be linebacker taken care of. We're going to avoid corner. We're going to avoid safety, of course. I think we altogether avoid trading down. Now it's just a decision between the offensive linemen. Do I take the guard, Reggie Russell? Or do I take a center, Elijah Stewart? Stewart looks really good. The other center looked pretty good too, but I think I lean Stewart to be the better player. I just wish I knew a little bit more about these guards, or these offensive linemen in general. They look comparable, for sure. It comes down to power. They're both not super powerful. Both expected to go around the same range. Stewart has elite strength. That's going to be the difference maker for me. Welcome, Elijah Stewart. 92 strength, 81 acceleration, 67 speed. Going to slide him over to guard, and now I think our offensive line is pretty much finished. I'm curious about where this guard's going to go, though. And, of course, you know, there's no telling whether the center would have been available by our next pick as well. We don't pick now until the end of the 4th round. I'm unlikely to trade up. There goes Reggie Russell. I think we just simulate to the pick. Probably go with a linebacker at the end of the 4th. Probably the best course of action. If the other center's available, I might take another shot as well. But I really don't expect him to be there. And he is not. What about linebacker, though? Wow, the really good linebacker I wanted, I believe was a right outside linebacker, no longer available. So he went pretty early on day 3 then. Means probably should pivot. Maybe this is a trade down spot now. I really thought that player would be available. I didn't even think it'd be an issue. These picks don't really have a ton of value. You know, we can't really trade down and get a 3rd round pick next year for this 4th. So I think I probably just stick and pick and go with a linebacker. They all have their flaws, but I'm going to go with Ty McBath from Tennessee State. He's older, Ran pretty well. Poor acceleration scares me a bit, but does have elite agility. Unlikely to ever be a starter, but somebody to add into the mix. Draft recap, I'd say this went pretty well. You know, we didn't do well on day 3 at all. You know, all these players are just depth pickups, really. But we're more worried about the potential starters. Elijah Stewart, 6'2", 306. Power is not his game. Everything else is pretty good. He's going to play left guard for us. And he jumps up to a 75 overall at left guard. Michael Bradshaw is a 78 overall and only 21 years old. He looks very good. 88 strength, 88 tackle, 76 block shed, 80 power moves. Play rec and awareness are already quite high. And of course, he's not a defensive tackle in our scheme. He's going to play right end. But now we have Justin Matabike. We have Michael Bradshaw. And we have, even though he drops 1 overall point, we have Travis Jones at nose tackle. Got a really, really solid team. I do want to see some of the players we missed out on in the top of this class. So it's Ron Conway, who would have been my pickup if we didn't trade all the way up to number 4. Would have been nice, no question. I still probably prefer the player we got, even though the overall is higher with the corner. I think that's perfectly fair. Jason Taylor. Did I totally miss here? I hit power moves are not even close. But very, very good player. Would have been thrilled with this. Never really considered that guy too much. I didn't see his athletic ratings. And sometimes that is important, right? You can't just, you know, go all in on the abilities, the attributes. You need to look at their athletic ratings. And then, you know, only 71 speed. 85 acceleration is amazing. 95 strength. We would have seen elite strength. We would have seen probably elite acceleration. Would have been an interesting player to consider. Jose Lowell, who's a middle linebacker I looked at, goes early round 4. 75 overall. Very, very good. Quintarius Hambrick, not quite as good from Fresno State. Is DeMarcus Windsor the linebacker I really wanted? I think it might have been. Ends up being a 70 overall, goes 2 picks ahead of us. I think this was the guy. Although his coverage is really bad. Hold on, let me go back and look. Yeah, DeMarcus Windsor was the guy, so goes just ahead of us, unfortunately. But only normal dev. I'm not going to be too upset about it. Good player, though. 70 overall, 90 acceleration, 86 speed. Something to work with there for sure. But how much more can you even ask for here? We go out, we upgrade our worst position on offense and our worst position on defense. And, you know, now we're ready to go. Again, corner could be a bit better. We could have a more dominant pass rush. But overall, we are in quite a good spot. Just got to develop these guys a little bit. Okay, this is the team for this season. You guys are familiar with it at this point. And I'm hoping that our rookies play well and we are back in the Super Bowl, and this time we don't lose it. That, of course, is my hope. Some things are unavoidable. And I don't know if that Super Bowl loss was. Could have been, potentially. Obviously. But didn't end up happening. Looking to rebound. I think we're going to be able to. Just need to keep it up. 2025 is going to be a good year. And Michael Bradshaw is a beast. We're going to steal +5 to block shed here. Training camp standout. Gotta love it. Jets crushed us, so I'm guessing the breakout is not going to continue for Michael Bradshaw, and it does not, unfortunate. Although we are 4-2 at the midseason mark. Browns 0-7. How funny would another 0 and whatever season be? 0-17 this time, 0-16 most recently. 4-2 Steelers continue to crush. 5-1. Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, Travis Jones. Travis Jones already a free agent. Is that much time passed between his draft? I guess we're a couple years in the future now, but damn. Doesn't feel like that much time has passed. Isaiah Likely, David Ajabo. Bunch of players. We have negative 33 million in cap space. How? Well, right now we don't. It's Lamar Jackson. Are you kidding me? His salary cap hit could not be 74 million back-to-back years. I just simply don't believe that's what it would be in real life. There's simply no way. But it is. I'm looking at it here on Spotrac. Yeah, a little over 74.5 million in 2026 and 2027 for the cap hit. you'd have to expect a restructure or, throwing the salary into bonus. That's absurd. Well, we'll end up restructuring with Lamar, but that means we're not going to be able to do anything right now. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Didn't realize that was going to be that bad. But yeah, $74.5 million to deal with. Should be a playoff team, though. And we go 13-4. Steelers absolutely collapse. But we are playing in a wild card game. And the Jets get the first round bye. And they already whooped us week 1. Are the Jets are the Jets amazing now? They just might be the best team in the league somehow. If we won 13 games and didn't get the first round bye, that means that the Jets won at least 13, if not even more than that. Lamar Jackson, very good year. Again, we're just not throwing the ball all that much. Lamar with over 1,000 yards rushing, though, 10 touchdowns. Derrick Henry was still great. Receiving, Zay Flowers had a killer year. Nobody else really did all that much, but Zay Flowers, 14 touchdowns, probably en route to superstar development here. He's becoming amazing. And then defensively, Trenton Simpson had over 100 tackles, 14 for loss for the rookie Michael Bradshaw. Also had 9 sacks, which may have led the team, and it did. Only star dev for him. Although I expect they could be moving up with Defensive Rookie of the Year, which I think he's going to be on track for. Roquan Smith had 4 picks. The rest of the team had 2 combined. Strange. Show me superstar dev for the left guard, though. How nice would that be? Nope, star. That's okay, though. The offensive line does look great. I worry about what this team's going to look like next year. With this Lamar Jackson contract, we're going to be losing a lot of players, even with a restructure. But I think we're going to be good here in the playoffs. Got to make a run. Colts in the wild card, the Battle of Baltimore. Former Baltimore Colts, of course. And they go down at the hands of the Ravens. Now, the Chiefs in the divisional. Not your typical divisional matchup. That's a very, very good team. This really could be the AFC Championship, obviously, just in terms of overall talent for both of these teams and the way they both simulate in the games. So, this one might be one to jump in for. And we're out to an early 7-0 lead, but the Chiefs' offense is no joke, and they take the lead right back. 10-10, 17-10 now, and the Chiefs tie it again, as we cannot seem to hold on to a lead right now. And that is still true. 27-20. Sure, the Chiefs will go down and score a touchdown. So maybe we try and stop that. The worst thing you can do in real life is blitz Patrick Mahomes. However, maybe that's not going to be the case here in the game. Now he gets rid of the ball so quickly. We're dead if we blitz him. But we're dead if we don't. So I'm not really sure what to do other than just assume the Chiefs will score, because they will, and then try to just dominate on offense and end the game. That's got to be a pick. Somebody's got to make a play on the football there. Mahomes is getting rid of the ball so quickly. It's scary, but I think we press. I think we honestly should play man coverage as well. Need Kyle Hamilton to come up with a big tackle, and how does Pacheco break every single one of them? Down to the 1-yard line, 3rd and goal. Obviously 4-down territory. But let's actually make it get to 4-down territory and no touchdown here. Oh, we dropped it. Okay. Game on the line, pretty much. Not exactly. We'd have a long way to go. The safety would make things very interesting, but we're in a great spot. They pitch it and get shut down. How do you take the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes on 4th down, game, season on the line, and go with a pitch to Pacheco? Maybe a quarterback sneak. Maybe a halfback dive if you're going to run it. Fullback dive. But a pitch? Oh, they don't want to win. 3rd and 12. That's not ideal. Want to keep that clock moving, though, but Lamar Jackson's going to take off and get close. Not quite there. That takes us to 2-minute warning. And with that taking us to the 2-minute warning, I probably just could have... Oh, I don't know. I probably could have just thrown the ball there and accepted that they would keep, 10 extra seconds if I didn't get it? Really considering what I want to do here. I mean, I guess you really do have to punt here, but it's only 4th and 2. I think the Chiefs will score anyway. if we don't get it. If we do get it, we win the game. This is a crazy go for it. I get that. I totally get it. But I think the Chiefs will score anyway if we don't get it. This way, they score quickly. Can't take time off the clock. And we have a chance to answer. Can't lose in regulation, essentially, unless they go for 2, which would be surprising. If we get it, and I get that it's crazy to go for it in this spot, but if we get it, the game's over. Derrick Henry, first down. Game over. It works out. And we go ahead and win 27-20. Moving on to the AFC Championship. 1 game away from being in the Super Bowl again. The Chiefs are out. Is it going to be the Jets in the AFC Championship? You know what? I guess that did happen in one of the last rebuilds I did. Who did we do? Was it the Bengals where we were playing the Jets and I think Anthony Richardson at quarterback? It might have been the Bengals. And it is the Jets. They went 16-1 with an 84 overall team. Okay, wow. I'm hoping this game's not going to be close. But already we're losing. And still losing even after we tied it up. This is going to be a very high-scoring game. It would appear 21-14 as we go into the halftime show. Hopefully it was a good one here at MetLife. Obviously, not going to have something too crazy for the AFC Championship. But maybe Terry Bradshaw gave some great stuff on the halftime show. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm saying, really. 28-21 is your final. That's the game. And we are headed back to the Super Bowl. Panthers are in the Super Bowl? Okay, well, 2 expansion teams matching up in the Super Bowl. Both teams have made the Super Bowl before. Panthers have yet to win one. Lost to the Patriots, right? And Michael Bradshaw wins Defensive Rookie of the Year and gets up to Superstar Dev. So now has some ability slots. But he's going to be just shy of an 85 overall. Playing up to it. That's cool, but not a true 85 overall player. Power moves is already ridiculous, though. I mean, he's a beast. No question. Nick Chubb on the Panthers now. They still have Brian Burns, of course. Again, we talked about that a little bit earlier with the roster situation here for these offseason rebuilds as the home run stroker, Kyle Higashioka, goes yard for the Padres. You guys probably don't care about baseball on this channel, but if you do, I have a baseball channel, Bengal Plays, where I have a Kansas City Royals franchise going, just like Atlanta Falcons on this main channel. And here we go. Panthers on the board early. Going to be, I thought it was going to be 14-0, but we take away the football and score and take the lead. It's 14-13 now, approaching the 4th quarter. Panthers go on top, 21-14. 2-point conversion must have been successful, of course. They had 13 points, right? So we are going to have an opportunity to tie, probably not take the lead, as Keaton Mitchell trying to showcase some of that speed. But I'm not a rapper. Lamar with an interception in this game, unfortunately. Derrick Henry has 9 rushes for 145 yards and a touchdown. Let's just call his number every play. And it happens to be 19. It's disgusting here, but I never changed it. Oh no, he had a gain of 2 yards and he's still averaging 15 yards a carry. Run the ball every play. However, I don't really want to give the ball back to the Panthers, so got to decide how quickly we want to score. Scoring really shouldn't be the problem, as Keaton Mitchell gets real close to the first. I think we just play for overtime. I don't think that's that wild here in the Super Bowl. I think that's the way to go. Or we go for 2 and be completely insane. But, I mean, we're running the ball pretty much at will on them. So, maybe it's the right move. Lamar read option. They didn't play for it. Gonna slide down. I'm thinking about going for 2. I just think it's a little bit too crazy. It's probably where I stand on that. It's just probably a better move not to, as Lamar's tracked down by Brian Burns. 20 seconds to go. I thought we'd just be able to roll out and throw a touchdown. Might not be as easy as that. I'm going to call a timeout. I don't like that we keep coming out in pistol, but that's what is in my suggested plays. I don't want to run slants, but I've accepted slants. I don't want to do it. I want to run, like, inside zone. get Derrick Henry on a runway and let him score. Or, I don't think they're going to be able to cover our tight ends here. And I just think it's a touchdown, probably. So, let's get out. Mark Andrews on the run. Touchdown. Coach wants us to go for 2. I'll tell you what. I'll see how they line up. Because we have a timeout, so, I mean, no harm, no foul, right? They're lined up basically the same way. And we run the same play. It'd be interesting. Let's go for it. Lamar on the move. Throwing. End zone. Got it. I wanted to run, and then I'm like, oh my God, Brian Burns is so fast. We'll never get there. Lamar, I just need to be able to use that speed more. It doesn't exist here. I think maybe you need to be in the zone, X factor, in order to unlock full speed. Stupid game. But thankfully, Lamar throws an unbelievable pass. Basically, as he's standing out of bounds, on the run, to a semi-covered Mark Andrews. Very scary. But we take the lead with 12 seconds to go. Panthers need a field goal. That's it. This is when we can play conservatively. This is the spot. Because there's 12 seconds. If they get 15 yards, it really isn't a big deal with 12 seconds. Now they might have one play. We'll see. We're going to back up. Just keep them on the other side of the 50. That's all we have to do. That's perfect. Game over. Thank you, Bryce. Yeah, get ready, Riley Patterson, to kick an 80-yard field goal. See what you can do. 1st and 10. Doesn't matter because it's the last play of the game. Bryce Young fires towards the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Panthers. No. I don't know what the strategy was there. But we have won the Super Bowl 22-21, avenging our heartbreaking loss from a season ago. Cowboys got the better of us, and then we have two, what do we play, back-to-back lower than 85 overall teams in the playoffs? They gave us close games, though. The Jets and the Panthers. The Sam Darnold Bowl with those two teams. They just, they made us work for it. But we worked for it and got it done. Don't worry that Lamar Jackson threw for 108 yards in the Super Bowl. He was great. Lamar Jackson does win league MVP, though, and Derrick Henry gets Super Bowl MVP. Love to see it. Lamar also Offensive Player of the Year. And this next offseason will be very interesting because, as you guys have seen, our salary cap space for the 2026 season is less than ideal. Gonna have to figure that out. And the first thing we're gonna do is restructure the contract of Lamar Jackson. We're currently slated to be negative $21.2 million. Ronnie Stanley, are you gonna be a free agent? Definitely could be. Mark Andrews no longer under contract. Ronnie Stanley also no longer under contract. And then we have Ajabo, Travis Jones, Jordan Stout, that whole draft class. But I don't see a lot of those guys being expensive outside of Mark Andrews and Ronnie Stanley. So, Lamar Jackson, how about a restructure, buddy? How about I don't pay you $74.5 million against my cap this year? So, this will free $8 million in cap space, but we'll add $8 million next year. It's slightly helpful, I guess. I'm going to restructure Roquan Smith. Here's what I'm committing to. Next year will be horrendous. But this year, we'll have a chance to win a Super Bowl again. We freed up $12.4 million in salary cap space. That's an extension for Travis Jones and a franchise tag of Mark Andrews or Ronnie Stanley. Yeah, it's not great. We don't have money. Travis Jones is back. I like that. Isaiah Likely or Mark Andrews. Is that what the decision's going to come down to? Can I extend David Ajabo for cheap and then franchise tag Mark Andrews? So Ajabo is back. Likely will have to walk, even though I didn't want to trade him. Keaton Mitchell gonna have to walk. But Mark Andrews will get tagged. We'll go into the negative. We won't be able to sign any free agent. But at least we'll keep Mark Andrews. And we keep our great offense together. Maybe the tackle would have been more valuable, but we're losing Isaiah Likely. So I prioritize the least valuable position of the bunch and franchise tag the tight end. We do not pick until the end of the 3rd round. Well, we're going to need help on the offensive line. And I guess that's pretty much it. Hopefully somebody is good on the offensive line and available. Although I find it unlikely at this point. But maybe we'll get lucky. Looks pretty thin. I'll tell you what, Eric Jones here is just another good offensive lineman. Might be able to move somebody around. He's really only a center at 6'1", 299. That's the issue, but he just does look like the best O-lineman available. And I'm just going to take the best O-lineman available and figure it out. Hidden Dev, 86 strength, 80 acceleration, 65 speed. Really only looks like a center with his size. And it's not like Tyler Linderbaum's the biggest guy either. He's somewhere around 300 pounds as well. Was 290 at Iowa. Might be like up to 307 or something like that now for Baltimore. I need a back that can catch. 3rd down back, Dom Robertson. Is he the one? Says he's a receiving back. I don't think he's going to be good, but I need somebody that can catch, and I can't sign anybody. Go with DJ Fields here. Elusive back. Gives us another option in the backfield. It's just straight power with Derrick Henry, who is probably retired at this point. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I don't remember extending him. I think this was his final year. 2024 and 2025. He may have retired. So I don't know what we're going to do. We'll add a corner into the mix. Jerry Lawrence looks pretty good despite not having very good speed. 89's okay. And we'll go with a coverage linebacker here in Colton Gordon out of Penn State. Works for me. Well, Eric Jones is a 72. The rest of these players are not good, which is to be expected, I suppose. 82 overall running back. Sean Yancey. 97 speed, 89 juke, 94 acceleration, 94 agility. Generational type back to Arizona. The best player overall-wise we could have drafted was Anthony Steele, who's a 74 overall, obviously without moving up. Dylan Adams, another center, was actually higher overall slightly than the one that we drafted. And he was available for us. Did I look at Dylan Adams? And I just decided to go with the other one. Only normal dev on him, though. Looks fine. Yeah, I just don't have a running back. That could limit our success here in 2026. I just completely forgot. Now, I don't know what I would have done about it because I went all in to win the Super Bowl last year, but I think you take that trade-off. Now, here in Madden, not having a good running back is a death sentence, and I'm not sure it's going to be one we can recover from. I'll tell you what. Using Fields here, the lack of speed is apparent, and I don't think he does anything else very well. So, he might put together an all-time terrible season. Running back's a tough position. We kick Stewart out to right tackle, move Faetanu back over to more natural left tackle, and this is our team. We managed to keep it together mostly for one more year, and without Derrick Henry in simulation, I worry about our chances of being successful here, but I cannot sign Jerome Ford. Maybe if I could clear $16 million in salary cap space, but I can't unless I cut Marlon Humphrey. The game suggested that to me. No, not going to do that. So we'll have a 70 overall running back. See what happens. Wow, look at that market adjustment for the Panthers. 1-6 now at the midseason mark. We are 5-2. A little bit better than I would have expected. I would have said maybe 4 wins. 5 is pretty good. And look at this. Wild card round of the playoffs is the Kansas City Chiefs. We won the division. The Bengals also won 12 games. Lamar Jackson had to pass a little bit more this year, but was still very good when passing. The touchdowns just isn't crazy. He led our team in rushing because, as expected, We had no actual running back. 15 touchdowns, though, for DJ Fields. The counting numbers, people will tell you that that was an incredible year for a rookie. And I don't know how I feel about it. I would say, hot take, maybe, touchdowns are circumstantial. He got attempts near the goal line, turned them into touchdowns. Does that mean he's especially good because he was the guy who did it? Or could anyone have done it? Only averaged 3 yards per carry, but did probably get a lot of short yardage situations. I don't know. Lamar Jackson's just the best. That's all we really know for sure. Ricky Pearsall leads the team in receiving yards, just shy of catches of Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. Flowers had 13 touchdowns, and then defensively, a lot of tackles. We finally had a double-digit sack performance. Justin Madubuike, although Michael Bradshaw was not too far behind. A lot more interceptions this year as well. Let's jump in against the Chiefs. I know it's only the wild card game, but it's probably the final season. So let's try and win Super Bowl number 2 of the video. We would make 3 in a row if we're able to do it, but of course, didn't win the first year. But as the late, great Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So that's the goal. Just need to play well in the playoffs. Playing well enough to hold the lead, but we're not really extending it. That would have been a big spot. Chiefs continue to run the ball extremely well, and they actually take the lead. 1st and 10. 3 minutes to go. We are down by 1. I would say this is the driver's seat. This is a really good place to be right now. We're going to find Mark Andrews. Field goal wins the game, and guess what? We happen to have the best kicker in NFL history. Hook 'em. Justin Tucker. We are way into field goal range now. It's about taking time off the clock, forcing the Chiefs to burn timeouts. There goes number 1. A first down should end the game for us. And look at that block there from Tyler Linderbaum. Makes a wide open hole. Go right through that right side A-gap. And that should be a first down in the game. Should be. 2 seconds left. 4th and goal. Can Justin Tucker drill the game winner? From deep! Got it! All right. Chip shot field goal for Justin Tucker. Shorter than an extra point, really, it looked like. So I didn't see exactly where we were on the field, but game over, 26-24. We are headed to the divisional. It's an AFC North battle in the divisional. The divisional will be the Bengals against the Ravens. Of course, that makes sense. Bengals up 10-0 early. Where is our offense or our defense? We've allowed 24 points in the first half, and we can only get a field goal to end the first half. Man, Bengals are really looking tough to beat right now. Still very much in this game. Bengals have Joe Mixon still and are unlikely to snap the ball here in the 3rd quarter. Down by multiple possessions. Not a lot of time to come back. Travis Jones, instant pressure. How do we not bring down Burrow? Oh, and Mixon's going to find the end zone. Okay. Well, that might do it. Get up the field. Block for Lamar. Oh, my God. 4th and 19. Game on the line. Receiver has a step, and then we can't get it to him. Well, we would be eliminated. It's tough when your defense does as little as we did. Offense really struggled. Of course, we ended up getting 20 points, but allowed so many in the end. But at least we were able to win 1 Super Bowl across these years. I think that's at least a success, but the team, in the future is in a rough spot with this current Lamar Jackson contract. And the Ravens in real life are going to work around that. I'm sure Eric DeCosta is going to do something, but there's no way his cap hit will actually end up being $74.5 million. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine. So we'll see what ends up happening in real life in a few years. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.